So I just watched the comedy drama Friendship, written and directed by Andrew DeYoung. So I didn't really know much about this movie going in. Like I knew it starred Tim Robinson and Paul Rudd, and they were like kind of friends, I guess. And I have to admit, I've never really been a fan of Tim Robinson before. Like I've never seen his show. I think you should leave. From what I've heard about it, I don't really think I would like it. But some friends recommended this movie to me, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll go ahead and check it out when it comes to streaming. And now that it's on streaming, I have seen it, and I have to say, this movie was very uncomfortable to watch. Like, this was an insanely cringy movie. Like, it is one of those movies that relies very much on you laughing at very uncomfortable situations. I would say for me, I got to laugh like once every 5 minutes or so. But at the same time, there were just so many scenes in this movie where I just had my head in my hands and I was just asking, what are you doing? Because this character's decisions were just so insane. And like, I don't hate cringe comedy. Like, I liked Borat. I liked Death at a Funeral. I like Curb Your Enthusiasm. Heck, The Office, Parks and Recreation, those are some of my favorite shows, and those have a ton of cringe comedy in them. But I think the way cringe comedy works for me is that like in the examples that I listed, they're kind of like quick and they move fast from thing to thing. So you're not really lingering on one cringy thing for too long. And even when it does, you're not really like holding on these things the characters do for like an entire movie, at least in The Office and Parks and Rec. But the problem is in this movie, when Tim Robinson does something cringy, like the movie just lingers on it. Like you are in that uncomfortable situation for so long. And like the consequences of the things Tim Robinson does, like last throughout the whole movie. So I'm just sitting there like, well, yeah, what'd you think was going to happen if you did this? It's crazy. And even then, I honestly have to say the story is kind of weird. Like without getting into spoilers, like what makes Paul Rudd want to sort of break off the friendship with Tim Robinson, in my opinion at least, like kind of comes out of nowhere. Like Paul Rudd already was clearly doing a thing that made Tim Robinson comfortable. So when Tim Robinson responded with a way that he thought was appropriate, all of a sudden Paul Rudd is a, like befuddled at this guy, and it's like, I'm sorry, the things you've been doing with him, like I would almost kind of describe their opening relationship as like love bombing, if I'm being honest. It's like ton of like interactions and these like seemingly deep conversations really quick to make him seem really attached to you. Like he was kind of reminding me of his character from that show with Will Ferrell where he played a therapist at the beginning. So I was like, so to him, for him to just break off the friendship for the reason he does, I'm like, really? I don't know. This just seemed kind of weird to me. And in my opinion, all of the cringe stuff is just worse because Tim Robinson is the main character. So we're like following him throughout the entire film. And I could kind of see a situation where the movie could have worked if he was like a side character. Like I look at the supporting actors around him, Kate Mara, Jack Dylan Grazer, Paul Rudd. They all do a good job and they all bring like charm to their roles and Kate Mara has some really good dramatic scenes. And honestly, any of them would have been better as the main character for this movie. I imagined a movie where you have Kate Mara's story, like again, without getting into spoilers, she's going through some very heavy stuff. She's trying to start up her own floral business and she needs a new car, but she's not really able to get one because of their financial situation. And then you just have Tim Robinson coming in doing all this weird stuff. Like that maybe could have worked if we weren't focusing on him throughout the whole film. And I guess since I mentioned that the side characters do give good performances, I guess I'll also give some other compliments. The direction in this movie is good. Andrew DeYoung does a good job. Cinematography is good. It does. The movie at least starts some interesting conversations about like masculinity and how isolating the male experience can be at points. But at the same time, that was done better in other movies and shows. Like I think back to the Barbie movie and how it shows how isolating like masculinity can be when Ken falls down this whole pipeline of he needs to be hyper masculine and how isolating the whole thing was after that. But yeah, at the very least, I guess they addressed it. Is that something? Yeah, overall, this whole movie was just, it was uncomfortable. It was cringy in a way that I did not think was funny. Like, when I finished watching it, the thing I most thought to compare it to was imagine the Cable Guy, like that Jim Carrey movie, if Jim Carrey was the main character. Like, the Cable Guy works because it follows Matthew Broderick and Jim Carrey ruins his life. So, and again, like I said, maybe this movie could have worked if another character other than Tim Robinson was the lead. But because of him being the lead, I just don't think it works. And I'm going to give Friendship a D. And my main takeaway from this is this is a sign I should not watch. I think you should leave because I really do not think I would like it at this point. So those are my thoughts on Friendship. If you've seen the film, be sure to let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe to see more reviews like this in the future. And on that note, I will see you next time. Have a great day.